but nobody wanted to hear Three Stacks play no flute. I'm sorry.
I don't have a
we
previous
want
career.
bars, Dre. You can't be that kind of a musical genius and not have no bars on the track. Like, maybe because it's one of those things where, like, I just don't know what good flute sounds like. You know what I mean? I don't know what that sounds like. So therefore, I'm like, okay, this is what you want to hear in like a sauna, a spa. If I'm meditating, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what you.
Yeah.
Now listen, that's some great nap music, man. Look, I put on that Andre album, Sleeping. Oh my gosh, man! By track 2, gone.
Out of there.
I think that was his goal. I mean,
Listen.
that's just my interpretation, but I think that was part of his goal, is to make meditative music and introduce his audience to something a little different. But.
But I think too, though, in the same way that hey, that wasn't necessarily my flavor, but I love you,
right.
So I'm gonna listen to it. I try listening to it. I'm like, this is not. I love you. I have listened. I live in Atlanta. I have rode through the streets of Atlanta. Can I find him? Am I going to see him? Is he here? Is he there? Like, I mean, like, guarantee you, about once a week, I'm in my car riding around. Like, am I going to see Three Stacks? Right? So I listen to it, but I just wonder, you know, as we talk about this conversation of worship, when it comes to like a teenager who is not exposed to certain types of music, and they might prefer one thing. And we go to church and we play something different, but yet we expect them to connect with it, and how we might be setting them up to be able to be like, this is just not my jam. But because, you know, some older generation just might not necessarily be able to get with some of the things that the younger people like. Like, Ashley, you said gospel music is behind the curve.
Yeah, there was like a report that came out several years ago, and if any of you know what I'm talking about, but it was like, consistently for the last few decades, gospel music has been about 7 years behind mainstream music and secular music. But the challenge is, you know, I think we were talking about this in our pre-production meeting, is like, you know, gospel rap, for instance, is like really cool now. Like, they're really coming with it now. But back in the day, it's like
horrible.
You would be like, this is so lame. And I remember being a student sometimes going to churches or at my own church and be like, oh my God, we're trying so hard here, guys. But then we complain about like, oh, church music is so behind. So they're like, how do you balancing that out to be innovative and creative and introducing sounds, especially heaven sounds, but you always feel like you're competing with what's popular.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that especially hip hop right now, like, it's so trendy. And so everybody is kind of trying to ride this wave of, okay, what is the new sound right now, and how can I emulate that sound? And I think that has kind of bled into Christian rap. But to your point, I think that Christian rap right now is like on this pendulum where it's now starting to innovate in a way where mainstream rap is actually taking notice, and they're trying to cop some stuff from Christian rap. And so it's really cool to see, to your point, because I remember growing up and trying to hear Christian rap when I was like on fire in my youth group. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to Lil Wayne, you know what I'm saying? And now there's an opportunity for us to have mainstream Christian rap artists that are pushing the envelope. And I think that that's really cool, because it now gives you the opportunity to that point to connect with students and to youth in a way that really speaks their language, because it hasn't been speaking their language and having people their age speaking their language as well. And I think that's important as well, because these Christian rap artists aren't all 40 years old. Like, a lot of them are 15, 19, 21, you know, whatever the case may be. And so you can really resonate with music that you can find yourself in personally. So
in the 90s, it was Dare to Keep Kids Off Drugs. That was like one of the things. Mm-hmm. And so
drug abuse resistance education.
Yeah. And so the gospel rappers
graduate
would relate the Christian rap would relate all their lyrics to like drugs. And a dude came to the church and had a song called Jesus is Better Than Dope. Jesus is better than dope. Jesus is better than dope. I gave up on Christian rap after that. I'm literally just now starting to listen to it again, because that disturbed me. I'm like, that's horrible. True, but horrible, right? Yeah. Jesus is better than dope, but that song is horrible. Like, you know, so we went from just an age where there's this battle right? With worship, like what is worship music? What is something that I can relate to? Because for older millennials, the music that we heard in church was different from the music that we heard in culture. I think the older we got, it started to sound similar. I think now you're starting to see that shift again. To Jay's point, where you're starting to hear a difference between Christian music and secular music. And I think that the behind the curve comes because I think not even in the Christian world, you have like gospel, but also like CCM.
Yeah.
And so in the black church context, a lot of black churches still sing gospel music, but the music that their teens listen to is more CCM.
Yeah.
So our idea of worship gets kind of blurry because in church, we really don't know which one attracts young people.
Yeah.
And to rewind just a little bit, to go back to the Andre 3000 kind of thing, I think that was really great. And it actually is a great picture of how we can view God and our relationship with him. While we might prefer a rap album from Andre, because we love him so much as an artist, we'll listen to anything that he does. It's the same with God. While we might not prefer, we might not prefer gospel, or we might not prefer CCM, our preferences give way to our affection for God. And I think we shouldn't. I think as a church, sometimes we can err when our preferences become the principles, as opposed to the other way around. The principle is we need spirit and truth for there to be worship. But we don't need, it doesn't matter if it's reggae, it doesn't matter if it's country, if it's blues, if it's gospel, if it's rap. What we need is spirit and truth. We need a heart of the matter there.